If you know anything about the current scene of young kids animation, then you know that Bluey is one of the top dogs. The smash hit from Australia has burrowed its way beneath the fence of international licensing, chased the garbage truck of global success, and marked its territory all over the fire hydrant of our hearts. But enough with the cringy wordplay. It's time for 107 facts about Bluey.
Welcome to ChannelFrederator, the cartoon central of the internet. Before we begin, we publish new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video.
Number 1. From the show's inception, Bluey has been the brainchild of one man, show creator, writer, and longtime animator Joe Brumm. Number 2. Like Bluey, Brumm himself is from Australia. He was born in a small town in the Australian state of Queensland and moved with his family to the state's capital, Brisbane, when he was a kid. Number 3. So, looking at Bluey, what kind of dog is she? Well, Bluey is a blue heeler, also known as an Australian cattle dog. Bluey's father, Bandit, is also a blue heeler. Number 4. Bluey is actually a nod to one of Joe Brumm's old dogs. When he was a kid, Joe Brumm actually had a blue heeler named Bluey. His childhood dog served as inspiration for the whole show. Number 5. That inspiration struck Joe in 2016 when he first started laying the mental groundwork for what Bluey would become. Number 6. Before Bluey was even a glint in his eye, Joe Brumm worked as an animator for 10 years in the United Kingdom. He was a freelance animator, so he was involved in a number of different shows, the most prominent of which was the old children's cartoon Charlie and Lola. Number 7. Of those UK shows directed at younger kids, you wouldn't be surprised to hear that Peppa Pig was at the top of the pile. Joe Brumm was inspired by Peppa Pig, not just for its simple, well-conveyed stories, but also how it was so intrinsically linked to its UK roots. Brumm wanted to make a similar show, but for Australia and Australian culture. Number 8. Another inspiration behind Bluey was, surprisingly, The Simpsons. Inspired by The Simpsons, Brumm wanted to create a show that the whole family could enjoy together. 4-year-olds could watch, parents could watch, and both would come away happy and entertained for different reasons. Number 9. Once he knew he wanted to make a show, Brumm was always set on making the main character a dog. However, that original dog was very different from the Bluey that we know. Brumm's first idea was to feature a Kelpie dog, a different Australian breed. Brumm also had a Kelpie growing up. The last dog he had as a teenager was actually a Kelpie. Number 10. The thing is, Brumm ultimately went with Bluey because in making a show for kids, he decided that the bright blue color of a cartoon blue heeler would be a better aesthetic than the more subdued browns and blacks that Kelpies are known for. Number 11. Also, with a blue heeler as the star, that opened room for red heelers as a nice color contrast. Sure enough, Bluey's little sister Bingo and their mom Chili are red heelers. They're the same breed as blue heelers, an Australian cattle dog, but red is the other popular color for the breed. Number 12. Brumm drew inspiration from more than just his family dog. He also looked to his real-life family. Just like Bandit, Brumm is the middle of 3 brothers. Number 13. Joe Brumm's older brother, Adam, had a particular impact on Bluey. Adam Brumm is an archaeologist and was involved in the discovery and nicknaming of Homo floresiensis, aka the Hobbit. It's one of the more recently discovered early human species. Number 14. Before Joe Brumm started making Bluey, his older brother Adam pitched a show to him about an archaeologist dog named Professor Fleagle who loves to dig up bones. Number 15. Professor Fleagle didn't make the cut, but Bluey's dad Bandit is an archaeologist as a nod to Brumm's older brother. So, in a way, Professor Fleagle lives on. Number 16. Joe Brumm's younger brother Dan voices Bluey's Uncle Stripe. Of course, just like the Brumms, Uncle Stripe is actually Bandit's younger brother. Number 17. Aside from playing Uncle Stripe, Dan Brumm also works on the show's sound design. Number 18. With 3 brothers in the fold, it's no surprise that Joe Brumm cut his mom in too. Bandit's mom and Bluey's grandma, Nana, is voiced by Joe Brumm's own mother, Chris Brumm. Number 19. With Bluey's concept locked down, it was time for Brumm to get to work. To start, Joe made a 1-minute pilot with his company, Studio Joho. Because they were such a small team, they could only work on Bluey in their spare time. Number 20. Sure enough, they quickly put a pilot together. With said Bluey pilot in hand, Brumm went to Ludo Studio, hoping they would help further develop the series. Number 21. Well, Ludo liked what they saw and they agreed to develop the show and still produce Bluey to this day. Number 22. Ludo Studio was co-founded by Charlie Aspinwall and Daley Pearson. Number 23. Once Aspinwall and Pearson agreed to develop Bluey, they went around pitching the show at various animation, television, film, and entertainment conferences, such as French trade show MIPCOM. Number 24. more. The thing was, despite its appeal now, Bluey wasn't exactly the easiest show for them to pitch. For one, Pearson admitted that Bluey's premise wasn't high concept. On the surface, it's just a simple show about a family that plays together, hardly a flashy elevator pitch. Number 25. Aside from the show's core structure, the pilot itself added another wrinkle into the already tricky pitching process. The pilot had a moment where Bandit and Bluey were playing on the swing. At one point, Bandit pushes Bluey a full 360 degrees around the swing. Number 26. Now, I would have put my faith in Bandit, but that kind of maneuver doesn't fly in kids shows. A number of executives even commented on that exact part when they saw the pilot. Still, aside from some reckless swinging, Bluey made a number of good impressions. Number 27. With the seed planted, the Ludo team returned to the studio and made a new 5-minute animation as a sample of what Bluey was all about. Number 28. Once it was finished, they brought the new 5-minute sample to the 2016 Asian Animation Summit in Brisbane. Number 29. Bluey continued to make the rounds and catch even more eyes, including those of the BBC and more specifically Michael Carrington, a top executive at the Australian Broadcasting Corporation at the time. Number 30. Carrington enjoyed the Bluey sample enough to drop $20,000 for Ludo to make a refined 7-minute pilot episode for future pitches and presentations. Number 31. Turns out that 7 minutes was a key ingredient to the Bluey formula. To this day, every Bluey episode clocks in at 7 minutes long. Number 32. With a new and improved pilot, Ludo Studio returned to the 2017 Asian Animation Summit for another round of pitches. Number 33. Well, the new pitch worked, and both the BBC and the ABC went in officially on Bluey, ordering one season of 52 episodes. Number 34. BBC actually put in for 30% of the funding. That gave them the global rights for distribution and merchandising of Bluey and anything Bluey adjacent. Number 35. Bluey was now officially a series. The new show was announced in July of 2017, set to premiere on Australia's ABC Kids network and then later on CBeebies, the BBC's channel for young kids. Number 36. From the very beginning, Joe Brumm wanted Bluey to emphasize the positive effects of letting young kids play naturally. He believes that letting them make their own games and engage in their imagination is important for their development. Number 37. Brumm's got the literature to back up his stance too. Before he even started writing episodes of Bluey, he actually consulted scientific research about young kids. He looked at the classic works by psychology researcher Sarah Smilansky, who studied how the kind of socio-dramatic play featured in Bluey was key for early childhood development. Number 38. Brumm also consulted the works of Vivian Paley, a preschool and kindergarten teacher whose research emphasized the importance of fairness and inclusion for early childhood classrooms. Number 39. Aside from reading a wealth of research, Brumm also took time to have conversations with child psychologists he knew. Number 40. So we know that Brumm's brothers and mom are involved with the show. Still, the meat and potatoes of Bluey come from his own family at home. Like Bandit himself, Brumm has 2 young daughters. Number 41. At the time of the pilot's development, Brumm's daughters were also 6 and 4, just like Bluey and Bingo, respectively. Number 42. And yes, I've mentioned it a few times now, but Bluey and Bingo are both girls. A number of people not familiar with the show can't tell just by seeing the characters, but it's actually one of the most searched questions about Bluey on Google. Number 43. Pearson considers the confusion a compliment. He's described Bluey and Bingo as rough and tumble, and acknowledges that their genders aren't brought to attention in the show. The writing and stories focus on them being puppies, not female puppies. Number 44. A number of Bluey scripts are inspired by games that Joe Brumm would play with his daughters. He would often play role-playing games involving stuff like going to the doctor's office or getting coffee at a cafe. Number 45. The thing is, with Brumm's kids being so young, they actually had very little idea about how cafes or doctor's offices work. So according to Brumm, they would create these bizarre situations. The kids would make up their own rules and words as they went along. Number 46. These games were fascinating and absorbing for the kids, as Brumm put it, and wildly entertaining for him. He likened these games with bizarro rules to absurd Monty Python sketches. Number 47. Brumm has even joked that every day provides him with about 3 different script ideas, so he's never short on material for Bluey. Number 48. Daley Pearson is right on board with Brumm's play-based approach. He feels that playing gives young kids their first exposure to more complex skills like teamwork, cooperation, and even just learning to process negative emotions like jealousy. Number 49. As far as lessons go, those are the kinds of teachings that Bluey prioritizes. Don't expect to watch Bluey and see the young characters sitting there learning learning how to count or how to spell. Joe Brum wanted the learning to be in the playing. Number 50. It's another experience he pulls from his real life as a dad. Brum's older daughter was struggling in school with more traditional learning, and she didn't respond well to being tested. Number 51. The lessons in the show aren't just a model for kids, but parents too. Brum wanted Bluey to teach parents that kids playing isn't a waste of time. They're learning life skills and having fun at the same time. Number 52. Also, Brum made it a point to avoid traditional conflicts that can happen in other shows. As opposed to the assault of conflicts Brum has seen in other shows, he wanted Bluey to show the warmth of a family and hoped people would respond. Number 53. For Brum, the only conflict in Bluey comes from the games he would play with his real-life daughters, like settling a dispute over sharing. Of course, there are also disaster movie type issues, like needing the bathroom on a longer car ride. See the episode Takeaway. Number 54. That said, Brum isn't here to preach. While he values those socio-dramatic lessons in play, with Bluey all he's trying to do is put his experience as a parent out there. Number 55. As heavily involved as he is on the show, Brum doesn't make it all by himself. Sam Moore is the producer of Bluey. Number 56. Moore has even said that Bluey is such a part of Brum that the show usually plays out like Joe Brum's life on screen. Number 57. Really, Bluey isn't just a reflection of Brum's family. Both Charlie Aspinwall and Dave McCormack also have 2 daughters. Number 58. Who's Dave McCormack? Why, he's the voice of Bluey's dad, Bandit. Number 59. McCormack lends Bandit his voice, but his voice has actually been in the public consciousness since long before the show. He's actually the frontman for Australian indie rock band Custard. They've been playing music together since the early 90s or so. Number 60. Sure, while both McCormack and Aspinwall can identify with Bandit's situation, Brum is still the main writer on Bluey. There are a few others here and there, but Brum writes most of the episodes himself. Number 61. Because the stories are so personal to his real life, Brum has said it's challenging for other writers to make Bluey episodes play out in a way that works. Number 62. When writing episodes, Brum takes each one as it comes. He says that he thinks of each episode as a little 7-minute short film. Number 63. So while Brum does most of the writing himself, it's not like he animates the show too. Altogether, there are about 50 people at Ludo Studio working on Bluey. Number 64. At any given time, Ludo Studio is working on about 15 different episodes of Bluey. That work includes everything from early scripting to the late stage post-production. Number 65. During that early scripting phase, Brum will come up with ideas for episodes and start writing them as he goes. This process takes about 2 months or so, but no more than that. Number 66. The finished scripts then head to artists for the storyboarding process. Over the next 3 weeks, the storyboard artists create between 500 and 800 different drawings, going by the script as they do. Number 67. Once the storyboarding is done, the production team will create a rough animatic in black and white to get a better feel for how the episode will play out. Number 68. That animatic then gets sent to the voice artists so they can record their lines. The voice recording happens outside of the actual Ludo Studio proper. Number 69. Ludo Studios, like Brum himself, are based out of Brisbane in a neighborhood called Fortitude Valley. Number 70. While the studio itself is in Fortitude Valley, there's also a separate Ludo Studio location in South Brisbane. This South Brisbane location is where the voice lines get recorded and where all the post-production happens. Number 71. However, Dave McCormack doesn't even go to Brisbane to record for Bandit. He records his lines down in Sydney and sends them over to the team at Ludo Studio. Number 72. When you hear Bandit, you're hearing Dave McCormack in his natural state. He doesn't do anything to change his voice. That's just how he speaks in real life. Number 73. During McCormack's first read for the role, he initially thought he was just going to do a couple lines. Well, he ended up reading the entire pilot and secured the part. Number 74. As for Bluey's mom, Chili, she's played by Melanie Zanetti. Number 75. To play Chili, Zanetti looked at her own experience growing up as one of 6 kids and how her mom handled the chaos. She said that her mom was a master of balancing the feelings of 6 kids, deftly solving arguments and not comparing one kid to another. Number 76. Unlike McCormack, Zanetti needs to put on more of a performance to play Chili. While she was born in Australia, Zanetti considers her voice and accent to be more neutral, so when she's playing Chili, she really hits those Aussie vowels. Number 77. As for the kids in the show, even including Bluey and Bingo, their voice actors haven't been publicly identified for privacy reasons. All we know is that the kids on the show are voiced by children of some of the production crew. Number 78. Brum set out to make Bluey unapologetically Australian, and Costa Daniel Kassab helps drive that point home. He's the lead art director for Bluey. Number 79. Kassab is credited with drawing the backgrounds of Bluey, backgrounds which reference a number of real-life Brisbane locations down to specific parks and shopping centers. Number 80. Two well-known Brisbane spots even get their own appearance in Bluey, the Queen Street Mall and the South Bank recreational area. Number 81. One episode has a specific Australian landmark tucked into the background. It's only there for a second, but in the episode Piggyback, you can see the big pelican of the Noosa River, which is up the coast from Brisbane. Number 82. While Kassab is responsible for creating the backgrounds, Brum himself decides which locations get included in the final episodes. Number 83. Bluey even has a fun Easter egg in the background. Bluey has a Dalmatian friend named Chloe, and Chloe's house number is 101, like 101 Dalmatians. Number 84. So with the vocal lines recorded over the next 4 weeks, background artists, animators, and the rest of the Ludo Studio team work together to craft the episode. Number 85. When the episode is just about finished, the production team meets on a Friday to watch it and review for last-minute changes. Those viewings eventually evolved into screen testings when the production team started inviting their families to the studio to watch. Number 86. All in all, one episode of Bluey takes about 3 to 4 months to complete from front to back. Number 87. Aside from the voiceover and the post-production, every part of the Bluey production process happens under the same roof at Ludo Studios. Nothing gets outsourced, even the music. Number 88. A number of composers contribute to Bluey's musical score, but one of the major players is Geoff Bush. He writes about half the score himself and leads the other composers along the way. Number 89. Each episode of Bluey is independently scored, and they each have their own distinct musical style. All of the score is recorded in-house and regularly uses live instruments. Number 90. The decision to score each Bluey independently was Brum's call. He was inspired by the music from Charlie and Lola. Number 91. Once the pandemic hit, the 50 or so members of the Ludo Studio team had to work from home. A skeleton crew of about only 3 stuck around the office, but the crew started slowly trickling back as the restrictions were eventually eased. Number 92. By that point though, Bluey was already a household name. The first episode of Bluey dropped on October 1st, 2018. From there, a new episode released every day through October 26th. Number 93. Once those initial 26 episodes came out, an additional 25 other episodes were released the following year, starting on April 1st, 2019. Finally, the last episode, a Christmas episode, was saved until, appropriately, December 2019. Number 94. By December though, big things were already happening for Bluey. In March 2019, just before the second batch of episodes even dropped, Bluey was renewed for a second season of 52 episodes. Number 95. In June of that year, the Walt Disney Company bought international distribution rights to Bluey, with plans to release it on Disney Junior and Disney Plus, in all territories save Australia, New Zealand, and China. Number 96. Bluey was now on the global stage, but with one caveat. Disney initially requested that Ludo Studio dub the Aussie accents with more localized voices. Sure enough, Ludo refused, sticking with the original Australian cast, and Disney backpedaled. Number 97. While the voices stayed, some changes were non-negotiable. One big example is the use of the word thong. In Australia, thongs refer to flip-flops, while in the US it refers to, you know, a certain type of underwear. Could have been worse though. Some Australians call them double pluggers, which if you ask me is even dirtier than thong. Number 98. Even small changes like that get under Joe Brum's skin. He said that while the thong incident is understandable on the surface, he also thinks it's inexcusable and ruins the flow of his show. Number 99. Disney actually excluded a few Bluey episodes outright when they threw it onto Disney Plus and Disney Junior. One such episode was Family Meeting in Season 3. Apparently there were so many fart jokes that Disney's standards and practices were left clutching their pearls. Number 100. Eventually, Disney loosened up a little bit, and the farting episode is now up on Disney Plus for all to see and or smell. Number 101. Thing is, family meeting was the exception. Season 2, episode 13, Dad Baby, still isn't on Disney Plus to this day. That's the episode where Bluey and Bingo help Bandit deliver a baby. Disney never gave an official reason for leaving it off the platform, but if farts offend their sensibilities, then it's safe to assume that simulated childbirth probably left their heads spinning. Number 102. Aside from full episodes, some of Bluey's jokes have been censored as well. There's a small scene where Bandit is talking about getting a vasectomy. No joke. The US version changed Bandit's lines to being about getting his dog teeth pulled. Number 103. Thing is, Brum never set out to make a kids show, and originally wanted to do adult animation before Bluey took off. He even said that his days in kids TV are probably a bit limited, due to the extra layer of editing and care for what's appropriate. Number 104. Since it launched in 2018, Bluey has become a massive success. That first year on air alone, it grew to be the most watched kids program in Australia. Number 105. In 2019 and 2022, Bluey won the Logie for Most Outstanding Children's Program. For the record, the Logies are basically Australia's version of the Emmys in the US. Number 106. As impressive as that is, no children's show can be called a success until it gets its own float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Sure enough, as of 2022's parade, Bluey is among the inflatable pantheon. Number 107. Of course, the Bluey train is still rolling. The second part of Season 3 is only available in Australia for now, but you know it's on the way. Just don't expect to find any thongs when it gets to the US. But you can always expect more 107 Facts videos.
Did you enjoy our video? What facts do you think we missed? Let us know in the comments down below. And while you're there, like and subscribe to see more great videos every week. And remember, Frederator loves you.